one of the things that I omitted in the design of the Dodger was to make it have a forward rake. I'm feeling a little bit nervous because the wind is amazing. In fact, there's been some weather warnings. That's an incontinence pad. Someone's getting anxious. Not sure I should let her out though, because listen to this. Today is the day I'm supposed to be hauling back in the water, dropping in the water even. This is the weather we've got at the moment. I don't know, gusts of good 30 odd knots or more. This is what I hate. I hate this weather, especially on the hard. It's the boat wobbles, vibrates and wobbles as we get those gusts. You can hear it now. Poor Millie insists on going out, but there's not much to see, and I don't really like her being out there. She might get blown away. Careful, Moo. So a little glimpse there of our man pulling Esper up in the slips. And I have to say I'm feeling a little bit nervous because the wind is amazing. In fact, there's been some weather warnings. There should be no one out there at the moment in the sea because it's 2-3 meter waves and very strong gusts, as you might be able to tell by looking at those trees over there. And I'm on my Todd, don't have Liz around, but anyway, hopefully Ricardo and his boys will be able to help me out. That's the weather that's coming in. Okay, so we're now swinging in the cradle and the guys are just going to paint underneath, do a bit more anti-fouling under the keel and so on. It's very disconcerting here, swinging around. It feels like I'm in a gentle anchorage, and I kind of wish I was at the moment. Yeah, I don't really like it, I have to say. Don't like dropping in at the best of times anyway. I don't think many people enjoy the lift out, lift in process. It's kind of, there's an exciting element to it, but then you start thinking about all the things that could go wrong, and you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, but I can see that Esper is now sort of swinging like this, rocking sideways in the cradles. Don't like it, don't like it. The sooner we get in, the better. I suppose I could have said, well, let's wait till the wind dies down, but it's forecast to carry on like this for days, so no, we're just gonna have to do it. I don't think I'm going to do much more recording though. I need to concentrate on getting the boat ready, so I guess I'll see you on the other side. All done, here we are, back in our original slip. Everything went okay, actually, it was all okay. The main thing I was worried about was that the engine might cut out because we had been playing around with the fuel tanks and also the fuel lines as well. So I thought perhaps there might be some air in the system. I let the engine run for about 10 minutes before we actually motored away from the drop-in place. But yeah, it's fine. But as you can see, well, you can't see, can you? Because you're undercover. There. It's still raining. It's forecast to carry on like this for the next couple of days. But I have made sure that Wit and Lek, the stainless guys, are going to come down here first thing tomorrow morning. So now that we are in the water, we can get a better idea of the balance of this Dodger. We've also just nipped into town to pick up some diesel, and I've also picked up the dinghy as well, which you just see that flash of orange just there. So I'm going to put all these on the back of the boat, and then that will give us a true idea of how Esper sits in the water. Funnily enough, at the moment the transom at the back is out the water. I haven't seen it out the water for a very long time, and I wonder if perhaps that's partly to do with the removing that CQR anchor from the transom. Don't know, but anyway, time for a beer, I suppose. So one of the things that I omitted in the design of the Dodger was to make it have a forward rake, and the reason for this is twofold. The first is wind resistance, and the second is to make sure that all that rain that we catch on the top of the Dodger is going to fall forwards into the catchers. So unfortunately my design was completely flat, although obviously we've got the curvature of the roof itself. But so what we've done is we've actually unbolted it all because it was just screwed into place just temporarily, and we've allowed its own weight to fall forward slightly, and we've kind of repositioned it. Now I'm trying to show you just behind me, this is the new position now, and I think even from here you can see quite clearly that she falls forward significantly. There's a couple of considerations to think about, and that is putting more fuel in the fuel tanks. I've tried to put as much fuel in as possible, so they're probably thirds full, and then we've got the water tanks as well, so that's going to play a little bit on the balance of the boat. But I think all in all that is probably about the right kind of rake that we're looking for. What little rainwater is currently on top of that Dodger, which is contained because there is no hole at the moment, then it can't drain out, has moved forward dramatically. So I think this is pretty much the angle we're looking for. So the result of moving this forward is that the rear struts, the stainless caps around the coaming, this is also moved forward slightly, and the result is that we've got this little gap at the back. And I think what we'll do is we'll just put a wooden wedge in there. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. Most of the weight is still held on by about 2/3 of this fitting, so from there to there it's taken most of the weight. And in fact that is where the stainless, if you remember there's a 4mm stainless sheet that runs up inside that is more forward anyway, so that's where the majority of the weight is. The back end, as I say, we'll just put a little wedge in there. Today I'm wearing my favourite t-shirt, isn't that interesting? But sadly I've got to go and have a shower because I'm hot and sweaty, and I have to look presentable because I'm about to go into town on a little adventure and head to the immigration office to get the next 30 days on my passport visa. So quick shower and off we go. Right, got visa done, that's all good. So the other thing that I've come into town for is to find some hose fittings for the bilge pump, that's right. The Y valve is broken, so we've found this place, and they have all the parts. We've managed to rummage through everything with the help of my able assistant Tony, who's there, who's been looking for paint for his mast. I think we've found a solution. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. What have we come in here for, Tony?
Hacksaw blades to undo what I've screwed up yesterday.
That reminds me, I need some hacksaw blades. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we just show the camera what we've bought? Inside there is our solution. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, loads of pieces. Our assistant is going to show us.
Voila! Can shut off. Ah, there we go, like that, yeah.
Well, if you're going to name your town Crabby, then, well, you might just as well have a crab in your town centre. This is the famous mudflat crab, and I say famous, he's just a little tourist attraction really, and somewhere to get to familiarise yourself with around town so you know where you are, right by the river. Crabby Town actually has quite a lot of creatures and animals and beasts on top of statues at the intersections around here, but this is definitely one of the favourites. Here we are back on the boat. back on the boat, back on the boat. Right, this is what I purchased earlier. As you can see, it's made up of a whole load of different components. It's a little bit clumsy, I suppose, but at least it's made of metal. It is only brass. Would be nice if it was bronze, but that's not going to happen. So just got the hose tails here for the 19 inside diameter hose, which, by the way, I really struggled to find when I was, well, searching in the UK online. I guess it's something to do with metric versus imperial. I think I'm right in saying that plumbing in the UK is still imperial. Anyway, I decided to make my own, so here we go. The reason why I'm doing this is because we have two separate bilge lines going to the bilge pump. One is for the actual engine bilge, which is completely separate to the main bilge. So I need to switch between the two. But what I find with these plastic, and the reason why I'm changing is the problem with these plastic Y valves or three-way valves, is that the lever's always snapping. And as you can see here, this is one which fortunately snapped in the position of the main bilge, so at least our bilge pump will keep the bilges dry, but we can't switch to the engine bilge, which occasionally gets a bit of liquid in there. So this is what I'm replacing. It's that simple, really. Got the heat gun, so I'm going to crack on and start putting this together tonight, because I want to test it tonight. Liz is still in the UK, and if we have a problem with the bilge pump, then we might have a chance to pick something up in the UK. So I just want to make sure that everything works. Today we're going to attempt to swap the float switch, which is the little mechanism that sits in the bilge, and it's designed in such a way that it has this float that when the bilge fills up, the float lifts up, and when it reaches a certain point it turns on the bilge pump. Ours has stopped working, and it's a little bit of an annoyance because it sits underneath our battery bank, and I have to undo all the batteries, take them out, and then have to relocate some cables in order to take the box out to get to that pump. So it's a bit of a pain, but this is what we're doing. So I've just turned the power on. Although the domestic batteries are not connected, I'm able to parallel over to the, well, it's pretend parallel I suppose, where the house battery is connected, but using the starter battery for the domestic supply, and lifted this up and it's still working. So I wonder if actually it's just got dirty. I don't know how much you can see down there, but there's quite a big clump of dirt, and I wonder if that's just obstructing the thing from lifting. So need to have a look at that, clean it all up, and unfortunately the only real way of testing it is to put water back in the bilge, which is not ideal. So whilst we're cleaning out the bilges, I thought I would show you this, which is quite a useful little tip here. That's an incontinence pad, and I've been using these quite a lot as I've been cleaning up the bilges and the fuel leaks. I've just been cutting in half. I think this is half or a quarter of one. They're pretty big. Just cut it in half and lay it down, and then just leave it in the bilges, and it absorbs the liquid inside the bilges. Other people use nappies as well. That's another thing that you can use, nappies or incontinence pads, and they're quite useful because you can pump out so much using the pump, but then after that you're left with a little pool, and I find this is one of the best ways of clearing that up. Well, thank you very much there, Liz, for letting us use your incontinence pads. They came in very useful.
They're not mine, cheeky.
Not yet, anyway.
Ha, very ha 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 ha. Yeah, okay, well I'll get some big shorts when I get a bit older, and we'll be using those, but they are useful in the meantime, aren't they? Yeah.
They are, yes. Those
and
are
it does mean now that you have completely got rid of the diesel leak.
Nope. We said it a few weeks ago, didn't we, that this continues to plague us, and well, we don't want to give the game away because it's going to happen again in a future episode, but this diesel leak continues to plague us. It's just insane how long this thing's going on for. It's driving me nuts.
It's crazy because the thing is, it wouldn't really stop us from sailing And it's not that bad, but it's been around, we've had it for a long time, and we're just fed up with it, so we were determined to get to the bottom of it.
Got to get rid of it altogether. It's not good, you know, to have diesel in your tank, in your bilges.
No.
It rots your cables, and ultimately it ends up in the sea. So it's not good.
We have to get it done. So
Dodger, got the Dodger on.
looks fantastic, doesn't it? I was so excited when I saw that. So that's done now. That's pretty quick, isn't it?
Like the diesel leak, it continues to plague us with a few twists and turns, and you'll see this over the next few weeks. There's a few things that we are battling with. We're making good progress, but it's taking a little bit longer than we anticipated. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Everything is taking longer. Everything always does take longer when you're on the hard.
Yeah.
A number of people have said, when are you going to go sailing?
When we're ready and when the boat's ready. Well, we're ready. I want to go sailing now, yesterday, last week, but the boat isn't ready. And I'm sorry, but we are not going in the water and going sailing until we're absolutely happy that everything's sorted on the boat. And that is just boats, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it is. And we can assure you that we want to go sailing even more than you want to watch us go sailing. We can't wait. But you all know we're heading to Japan and then Alaska. This is really the last chance to do this kind of work, so we have to get everything done and finished before we go. And we just got to grin and bear it.
Yeah. In the meantime, peace and fair winds.